Kosher Terroir. I'm Simon Jacob, your host for this episode from Jerusalem. Before we get started, I ask that wherever you are, please take a moment and pray for the safety of our soldiers and the safe return of all of our hostages. The following episode of the Kosher Terroir is an interesting conversation and wine tasting held on two occasions almost 2 months apart. The first was on January 9th, 2024, 3 months after the war started on Simchat Torah Day, Shabbat, October 7th, 2023. I visited the HaSela Winery near Arugot Farms in eastern Gush. With their husbands, Yoni and Eitan, on the northern and southern battlefields, Yisca and Neta were left to manufacture the wine while also caring for the vineyards as well as feeding and managing all of their children. It was a difficult time for the wives, but they worked diligently to keep the winery going, as well as entertaining guests who wanted to visit, taste, and purchase wine. The second conversation took place on March 3rd, almost 2 months after the first conversation. Yoni and Eitan were back from the war. Yoni, at least temporarily, as he has been told to be ready to get called up again in the next few months. We explored how the two men became partners, how and why they decided to focus on winemaking in the first place, and their experience from the battlefield, wondering how the family and the winery would make it through this challenging time. This amazing story was repeated countless times across Israel, with soldiers being called up at a moment's notice in the midst of our festivals, with their partners and spouses stepping up to carry out the double and sometimes even triple load of their day-to-day activities. What an amazing people, what incredible individuals each of them are. If you're commuting in your car, please focus on the road while listening in. If you're at home, please choose a delicious kosher wine, sit back, and join in on this remarkably challenging adventure of defending a country, worrying deeply about the safety of your spouses, raising and nurturing children, all while also making wine. So where are we here?
Okay, so you are right next to Ibei Nahal.
Okay.
And what you can see from here is the beginning of Midbar Yehuda, Nahal Arugot.
Okay.
Right on the other side is Nahal Arugot, and we are right outside our beautiful winery.
And I'm looking down at a vineyard on one side and a vineyard on the other side. Mm-hmm. And then over the hill is your bigger vineyard.
Right.
As well.
So the other side we have 35 dunam of Cabernet Sauvignon.
Okay.
Here we have Petit Verdot, 7 dunam, and 12 dunam of Merlot.
Very cool.
Altogether about more than 50 dunam, and it's a lot of work.
So welcome to the Kosher Terroir. That's really what I wanted to say welcome for. We're here at the HaSela Winery. The reason, how did it get its name?
Well, when we were walking around and getting to know the area around our house, which is here in Ibei Nahal, we bumped into the Sela, which happened to be top of a water cave, and
what you call it?
I think a cistern.
A cistern.
And so when we would like do our walks around here, and we would come and we'd see like a whole bunch of birds flying out and water and dirt, and that's where our husbands decided to start their winery.
So speaking of your husbands, has the war caused anything? Has the war here caused any issues for you guys? I know I'm actually asking the question, but I super know the answer. But
well, aside from the sadness and us feeling for everybody whose lives have turned around, our husbands had left that morning, Shabbat morning, straight out of dancing in the shul to the army, and they haven't been home since. We've been here taking care of the kids and the winery and the wine and the vineyards on our own, me and Neta. Yoni and Eitan are both in the army since.
Right.
All the events that we had planned on for Acharei Chagim were all canceled.
For the holidays, yes.
Yep. And we're here. We're trying to keep the things going, even though they're absent right now.
So what does that really mean? I mean, I know they're in Gaza, so the winery just runs by itself, doesn't it? I mean, it's like, what sort of things did you have to do when they left here on that Shabbat morning?
Right. So Baruch Hashem, we were right after the harvest, so we didn't have to do that on our own because that's a huge production. It's once a year, and it takes a lot of effort. It's about a week that we harvest the grapes and bring them down into the winery. So that part we did already.
Yeah.
And now the next stage was to take care of the wine and turn the grapes from grapes into wine.
Right.
And,
the fermentation.
And each stage has its own unique process that has to be done. So we got our guide from his name is Itzik Lotan, and he tells us what we have to do to make the wine to produce it, and me and Neta we do the work.
Wow.
We take care of it.
So that's punching down the grapes, and that's
so there's the press that we did with the kids.
Oh, that's even more so, the pressing.
Right.
I forgot all about the pressing.
Right. So the pressing was a big thing because we had a few chayalim that came to this area to part of their miluim.
Yes.
And they said, well, your husbands are miluim there, and we're doing miluim here, and you need some help, so here.
Okay. And, very cool.
Yeah. So we had soldiers here helping us move the huge crates of wine and whatever, and we did that part. The press was a big thing, and then moving it into the barrels eventually, and we had to 3 weeks after the press, we had to mix the grapes 3 times a day. So we would come here with the kids and open it up and mix it and close it and make sure the temperature and everything's the way it should be. And
wow.
Once again.
So now they're in the barrels.
Now.
So now at least they're in the barrels.
Right.
Is there still work that you have to do?
Sleep.
You put them to sleep. So right now they don't take as much daily effort.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. There are other things that we have to do here as a routine to keep the place going and take care. We have empty barrels that we have to take care of them so that they can be used
in the future.
In the future, we have to take care of them every month. They have to go through things, and the vineyards are also, they're now asleep, but soon they're going to be waking up, and there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, I'm watching.
These vineyards here, this year is going to be our first harvest after 3 years. And
after Orla.
Yep.
So this will be actually
So they're
producing.
they're young, they're 3 years old, and they have to be pulled up. It's called hadlaya.
Yeah.
So we have to do that in the next few months so that when they wake up, everything is ready for them to grow on to.
So it's I tasted the wine. I tasted the Cabernet from 2020, which was your first year.
Right.
And you made it in Binun Winery.
Right.
So you used the service winery in Binun to make it. It's spectacular. It's really, it's delicious. It's just very approachable. It doesn't fight with you. It's just an incredible wine. It's just a delicious wine. And I also tasted the 2022 Rosé, which is a lovely wine, which is actually perfect for food. Really, it's got nice acidity, and it'll do great with food. Mm-hmm. So Baruch Hashem. Good. So if people want to contact you about the wine,
if you look us up, you can find all the information.
Okay.
HaSela Winery,
yeah.
Yekev HaSela. We're here. Anyone who wants to come to visit and see the place and taste the wine, more than welcome to come. And people get in touch and order wine. We have deliveries all over the country. People order and they get it to their doorstep. And
I strongly recommend at least doing that because the wines are delightful. Good. The wines are really delightful. Thank you. Thank you for spending a few minutes with me. Great. Toda.
Thank you.
The following is the second part of the interview, which took place on March 3rd, 2024, several weeks after Yoni had returned from the war.
All right.
So welcome to the Kosher Terroir, and you're welcoming me here to HaSela.
HaSela, that's right.
Tell me your name again.
Yoni Glustein.
Yoni Glustein. Pleasure. Simon Jacob.
Pleasure to meet you. So this is the winery itself.
Yep.
We found this cave. It's an ancient water cistern.
Yeah.
And apparently it's perfect for making wine and for aging wine. It's cool. There's no air conditioning on now. It's just cool.
It's just humid.
All year round.
Humidity is perfect.
Exactly.
Perfect for the corpse.
Exactly. Here we have right here, we monitor the temperature and the humidity. So these are the barrels. Now this is 2023 inside here aging.
Great.
We got some new barrels, some old barrels. We're going to mix them together. And we're making our rosé still at Binun Winery.
Okay.
Binun Winery, they're actually kind of teaching us how to make the wine.
Okay. That was one of the questions I was going to ask.
No, I'm sure. We can sit down and
Yeah,
go
yeah,
through all
no,
the
yeah.
other questions. But our background is, growing the vineyards. We've been doing that for 10 years.
Okay.
We learned a lot about that. But everything has to do with the winemaking. We're rookies, so we're just starting. So we said we'll do it properly. We have a winemaker. His name is Yisca and Neta. He's Binun's winemaker as well.
Okay.
He comes here and he teaches us everything. We send samples of the wine to him whenever he needs. And
so they have a lab, so they
have a
can
lab
analyze
there and
everything. Great.
They analyze and do it properly.
Awesome.
So
what do you have here that's percolating at the moment?
So this is our first wine.
Yeah. This is what
This
year?
is 2020.
Okay.
Cabernet
That's what I
Sauvignon.
tasted.
It's bliaina.
It's delicious.
It's our best wine so far.
It's delicious.
Beginner's luck.
Yeah, no, delicious.
So we only have not even 100 bottles left. We're going to stop selling it in a minute and keep some. Today this is 2022. This is what we're just going to taste now.
Yeah.
Cabernet. And we have a rosé. This is the end of the rosé of 2023. And we're going to be bottling our new one real soon, within 2 weeks.
So this is the 2023 rosé, not the 2022 rosé.
Sorry.
It's the 2022 rosé. Yes, I tasted it, and I love it as well. And now you're going to
be
start
bottling
doing the
2023 one.
No, perfect. Makes a lot of sense.
Exactly.
Okay. Very cool.
And
these are what?
This is the same. This is the 2022 Cabernet.
Okay, great.
This harvest, we're going to be harvesting two new specimens.
What?
Species. We're going to have Merlot.
Varietals.
Varietals, that's what it's called?
Yeah, varietals.
My English isn't.
Don't worry, your English is perfect. It's a lot better than my Hebrew, so. Baruch Hashem.
So we're going to have Merlot as well, and some Petit Verdot, and we'll start doing some blends. So it'll be interesting.
So we got in just in time.
Is that rain?
Yes, I think so.
Oh, wow.
I might be wrong.
Oh, wow.
But I'm listening,
Yeah.
and it sounds like it's raining.
Sounds like it's raining. It is. Good luck in just in time.
Wow. I made it in just in time. Thank you, Kadosh Baruch Hu.
Do you want some water or something to drink?
Actually, I'd like to taste this with you. So do you have another glass?
Sure.
We can do it together.
Sounds good.
Wow. So tell me a little bit about yourself. How did it's you and your partner, but tell me how it came about.
Sure.
Where are you from? You're from Israel?
So I was born in Israel, in Jerusalem. My parents are Canadian.
Okay.
So I grew up in an English-speaking house.
Okay.
My wife as well. She was born in Israel. Her parents are from the States.
Yeah.
Also spoke English at home.
Yeah.
So we came to Ibei Anachal in 2012. And I always wanted to do something with agriculture, something, with settling the land. The issue was very small. We were family number 6 at the time. And then I looked for what I can do here agriculturally. And we took samples of the earth and we checked it out and we asked around. We asked the kibbutzim in Gush Etzion that have been growing grapes here for years. And apparently it's an amazing, amazing place to grow grapes. We're at 800 meters above sea level, cool nights, hot days, very dry, perfect for quality grapes. And since at the beginning I thought, all right, so you put the vines in the ground and you add water and they grow. And we realized that it's
a little more than that.
A little more than that.
Yes.
So I teamed up here with my partner, Eitan Lax, who came a few months after me to the Yishuv. We didn't know each other at all. He also was asking around if he can do anything, chaklaut and stuff like that. And we just teamed up. without knowing each other before. And it's been an amazing partnership. We've been partners for over 10 years. So we planted our first vineyard, 35 dunam of Cabernet Sauvignon, which was a big step to start with. It's pretty big for us.
It is huge.
It's huge.
It's huge. It's not pretty big. It's huge.
It's a big step.
Especially if you're coming into the wine business, I think in the correct way, coming in from the viniculture perspective, where you're growing vines and you're caring for vines and you're seeing what you need to do to take care of them. I just noticed you guys are now
we're pruning now.
You're pruning them. So yeah,
we got out just in time. I was in the army until 3 weeks ago. My partner got out 2 weeks ago from Gaza. I was up north, just in time for the pruning.
So I was here January 10th, 9th or 10th, and your wives were here valiantly working away.
They did the whole thing. It was
unbelievable.
We were sure that like we just finished the batzil, the harvest, right before Yom Kippur. It was like last minute, and then we were off to the war. And we said, all right, dispatch or whatever. Hefker. Yeah. Not gonna have wine this year. We'll have next year, Bezrat Hashem. And they just they did everything. It's amazing. They got in touch with our winemaker, with Itzik. He came here, which was also amazing. He came here a lot more than he committed to. He showed up every time. He helped them do from everything, from the before the press, even the filtering and the checking it and the whole thing, putting it into the barrels.
I remember them saying they moved a barrel down the stairs, and I'm going, "You did what?"
We have a video.
She said, "Well, it was on a cart," and I'm going, "Yeah, but they weren't full. It was an empty barrel." I said, "Yeah, I know it's an empty barrel. That's huge. How in the world did you do that?"
And everything they started getting online sales going, something we didn't have here, because we would only have groups come here and we would sell here the wine. We're not in stores yet. We're too small.
Yeah.
And they got the online sales going and started working on Instagram and Facebook and really getting. I told my partner we can move on to the next project. I think they've
got it handled. Yes. No, they were really special, really accommodating. It was an amazing. We did a tasting. It was an amazing time. And I spoke to your wife because she was the one who spoke English, and we sat down and I interviewed her a little bit for maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and I said, I got to come back when the boys are back. So
I'm back for a little. April, okay. I'm heading back already.
Oh, you have to go back again.
But, yeah, at least have another month here. So after we planted, we realized that we need professionals with us. Yeah. So we connected with Migdal Oz, which is a kibbutz in Gush Etzion. They've been growing grapes for many years. And we hired them on a monthly basis. They would come and we would check the leaves and we would check the soil and we would decide which fertilizer to put in and the whole thing that we learned then. And after a few years already, we started doing it on our own. We already learned.
So initially you grew the vines, and then somebody else was buying the grapes from you?
So until today, most of the grapes still go to a winery called Hebron Heights Winery in Hebron. Mm-hmm. We send most of the grapes, and just a little bit we're keeping to ourselves and starting to make our own wine. But as you said, it's interesting coming from the agricultural side into the wine world, which is another, as you know, whole world. Mm-hmm. And also here, we just like we did there, we take professionals to teach us. And on one hand, we're a very small winery, only 3,000 bottles, next year 4,000 bottles. But we're doing it by the book with a lab and with proper machinery. And I think also the fact that we can control the way the grapes are grown, gives us a big advantage.
It's a huge deal.
Growing your own grapes, understanding how to control them, if it's with the water and if timing and all the things you can play around with, and we can choose from all those exactly what we want and make the wine with it. And it's funny. I don't know if I should say it on a wine podcast, but
I edit, so if you don't want to say it, I can pull it up.
I'm still learning to enjoy wine and to like wine. Mm-hmm. Most people that start a winery have a big passion for drinking wine, and then they want their own winery. Yeah. Both myself and my partner came from loving the land and wanting to do something to settle the land.
That's the proper way to get into it. To be honest, that's really the proper way to get into it, because otherwise, you're dreaming, but it's not like it's not particularly practical. So you're definitely coming the I believe the better approach into the winery business. So
I hope so.
Yeah,
I did take a course from Misad HaChaklut, had a course about starting and running a boutique winery, it was called.
okay.
And the last shekef, was don't start a winery. Because they looked at, the economic aspects and the cost, and they say, it's just, unless it's like one of your biggest dreams, don't do it.
It's very hard. It's very hard for people to make money at it. It's I know some people who do, but it's very hard to make money at it, and it's also it's an enormous amount of work. It's not a little deal where you've invested in something and now you're looking for the returns. You have to invest every single day, and that you have committed partners in this. That all of a sudden, when the war broke out, it didn't just go hefker. Right. You were able to. They were able to take care of everything. Including kids and including everything. It's
including
like crazy.
everything, kids and work
crazy.
And the winery. And
it's crazy.
It became something nice. At the beginning, it was more me and my partner, Eitan, running things. Right. And it really became like a family business, 2 families.
Yep.
Which is nice. We have the kids here when we have events. So my son's working the coffee machine and my daughter's labeling bottles, and it's
I even labeled bottles.
Oh, you did?
When I was here, I labeled bottles when I was here for the bottles I wanted. I labeled them. But it was great. It was absolutely amazing. Awesome. Very cool. So you said you've expanded the varietals. So which varietals are you bringing in?
So today we have Cabernet Sauvignon only. Yep. Mm-hmm. That's also a rosé is Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah.
This summer we're going to have some Merlot and some Petit Verdot.
Cool.
And hopefully we want, when you drove down, you saw on both sides of the road, we want to make their vines. Kind of Italy style, where you drive in and you have the vineyards on either side.
Yeah.
And there we'll be able to play around with smaller amounts, maybe do different varieties and interesting stuff. We're now trying to do all the pruning.
Yeah.
And on a regular year, we have a team of like 10, 15 Arab workers from the area here.
Right.
And we're trying to do it with Jewish workers this year. And that's been a big challenge. We found 2 workers, you can see them down here, that'll come and do it like every day. And we're bringing bigger groups of volunteers just to do like the Perezmira. Because it's hard to teach them to really prune properly. It takes a few hours to really get it. So they're just doing like the first, how do you say Perezmira?
Yes, it's the first clipping. They're not actually worrying about which
they're not choosing how many to leave. They're just cutting down the big, and then it's quicker for us to come in.
So is that where you were this morning? Were you doing that this morning?
Eitan was with them this morning.
Okay.
Both of us also work full-time jobs.
Okay.
Until this place is
really functioning
enough for us to do this. So I'm the portfolio manager. I'm sitting in front of a computer. Eitan has his own business of Ginun. So we're trying to juggle everything here.
You started with the growing. When did you decide that you were going to start a winery?
So
and what started that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
So you started that when?
So 2020 is our first
vintage.
bottles, the first vintage for the winery. It came again also. First of all, we realized that the grapes were really special. Really, really good.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagef.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagef.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely. That's the Cabernet. It's a 2022 Cab. Very good. Very good. Okay.
So first of all, we realized that we have really, really good grapes, very high quality grapes. And again, we found this ancient water cistern. And we wanted to keep on expanding and building something and settling this area. And it kind of fit together. We said, we have amazing grapes. We have this interesting place that we want to turn into we want to bring people here. That's a big deal. That's also another reason why we're not really in stores yet. A, we're too small. It doesn't add up. The numbers don't add up. We can't give such huge discounts to distributors, etc. And B, we want to bring people to this area. I think it's special, definitely, to come overlooking the vineyards. We have down here is the Petit Verdot and the Merlot, like right under the winery. And it kind of was a natural stage to grow in the direction of making the wine from your own vineyards, being able to have a place to bring people, to see the vineyards, to see the winemaking. We do events here. We canceled them all now because of the war, but we have simchas here and bar mitzvahs, britot. My brother had his wedding here. I
saw some of the pictures on your website. Your website's beautiful. Very cool. All right. So when was that? That must have been 2018, 2019?
2019, we started building the place. Our first 2020 bottles we made at Binon. We didn't have the whole facility up and running.
Right.
So we brought the grapes there. We came there every time for, all different stages and decision making. And so this 2023 is actually the first batch that we're actually making here in our facility. So that was a big step.
So the girls made the first one.
Yep, 100%.
I know I'm calling them girls, but they're definitely moms. The moms made the first one. Wow,
100%.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about the future? Where do you want it to go? More varietals in order to do blends, or in order to do single varietals, or what are you thinking of?
So again, we're as I said, we came less from the professional wine making knowledge side of things. Yeah. Any question like that, we sit down with Itzik and plan the next year's. We do have a meeting with him in a few weeks to plan this year's. So still, our Cabernet Sauvignon is our flag. It's really, everybody who's tasted it has really enjoyed it. I say my wife likes it and she doesn't like wine, so that's like a good
No, I'm telling you, there are people who don't like wine, and I say, okay, I hear you.
Right.
This is a cab, but it's kind of special. Here, try it. And there hasn't been anybody who's ever said, oh, this is not for me. Every single person says, I really like this. This is amazing. So, Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem. We also, the way the pictures that we put on the labels is always something that connects to the place. So here on the cabs, we put the picture of the cave. And on the rosés, which we can taste also. I hope I have one in the fridge.
I love that label.
It's this.
Yeah.
It's right over there.
It's that corner.
It's that corner there. Okay. And we didn't plant any of these vines.
They just grow through.
They just grow through.
Right.
So again, we like bringing people here. So someone was here and he saw the place and he's leaving with a bottle that reminds him of the place, of the area.
It's like
like the rosé. We see people love it in the summer. They come here.
It's perfect. They just sit and drink it, and it's great. They love it. As you come through this, what have you learned? I mean, like, if you could talk to yourself back when you were going to take this on. I mean, would you say, "Don't do it," or what would you have told yourself? What did what have you learned?
I 100% would have told myself, don't do it.
Yeah.
And I hope that I wouldn't have listened to myself.
Okay.
I think that would sum it up. We definitely took on big risks here that we didn't know, we didn't really know what we were getting into. One example even is the virus. We had leaf roll 3. The Petit Verdot and Merlot had to be uprooted completely. Wait a year, poison each one, wait a year, and then replant them, which was a huge, huge loss. And other also challenges being in New
Where did you get the shtilim from?
We got it from Beit Gidul up north, but the Chomer Ribui came from Israel.
Okay.
And sadly, we're in a lawsuit with them for many years already. I don't know what's going to be with that, but they're not taking responsibility. And other challenges being in Yehuda v'Shomron, we've had thefts. The Bedouin in the area have stolen. They come for the metal. They steal the poles, which is the most expensive part of the vineyard. And just a lot of challenges. As you said before, it's tons of work. People don't understand. It grows and it grows by itself. It's tons of work. Even the vineyard is tons of work. The winery is tons of work. But again, going back to my first answer, I hope I wouldn't listen to myself, because Bemed, it's been an incredible journey. Also as partners, getting along for so many years so amazingly is an accomplishment.
I can imagine coming back from the tzava, where the four of you were back together again, with the kids and everything, but the four of you were back together again and able to just come and sit for a little bit. Must be an incredible bonding experience.
Sure.
It's just incredible.
It's getting through tough times together is, what makes it special. I remember myself coming back for I came back for 48 hours and I parked the car, got in the house, it was already 9 o'clock at night. The kids were sleeping. My wife was like, great, you're here. Come to the winery. We have 3 orders to pack. And I'm still in Madim, packing up. And just you see what I do after the kids go to bed, this is where I go. You're coming here too.
Non-stop. It's non-stop.
It's non-stop. But when you have a winery and you're not in stores, so you're also doing the branding and you're doing the pirsum and the shivuk and the whole, you're doing everything. So, and also it's not the person who knows how to grow the grapes isn't always the best, marketer, isn't good at marketing or isn't good at social media or isn't good at, so it's, you kind of have to be a jack of all trades and you have to be on top of the financials and be on top of cash flows, which is the life, that's the life of every business, Betach Winery. We started doing online.
And how do you ship it?
Exactly. After a lot of work, we found a Chavat Shlichuyot that will take the wine for us in Israel. We didn't find a way to ship it overseas. We're too small. Yeah. I don't think it's an option right now. So we sell people that just order in and we sell to them. And we started getting some clients that are large companies that are buying Shai Lachag for their employees or for their clients. That's a great place to be because that's 100 bottles order. You take it to one place. Baruch Hashem, our packaging, we're getting a lot of compliments from just the way the bottle looks. I know a lot of people understand wine and appreciate wine. A lot of people buy the wine because it looks pretty.
Yes, 100%. 100%. The packaging on your rosé is gorgeous.
So the person who did it is Neta, is Eitan's wife, my partner's wife, her sister. Her sister's does the logo, did our logo, does everything. It's just an amazing job. Really amazing job.
It's pretty because the color of the foils
fits
exactly to the rosé. And I know, she said something like it wasn't planned to do that, but it did, and it just is perfect. It's absolutely perfect. It looks great. If people want your wines, the best place to find them is to come here, I guess.
It's to come here physically, even though now the visitor center is still closed since the war. Every minute we have, we're either in the vineyards or taking care of the wine. People can, if you Google us and you press, we're still building our website actually. She's building our website also.
Okay.
But even if you press where you should have a website, it takes you to a online place where you can just order our wine directly.
Great.
And we'll deliver directly. So that's one way to help us out, is to just order wine over the internet. And companies or anybody who has who's working in a company and wants to order for their employees or for Pesach now we're getting orders, or even already towards Rosh Hashanah, that's also a big deal. And Be'ezrat Hashem, towards the summer, we're even planning on opening it up Fridays, making a little mini restaurant. We have a coffee machine. We have outside
a pizza oven,
and we have meat smokers that my partner's brother made out of wine barrels. Just this week, my partner brought his pluga here they were together in Aza. They did just a meal here, and they put lots of meat in the meat smoker, and it was incredible. It was amazing.
Very cool.
Once we're up and running again, we host events here. We had companies come and do their l'chaim for Rosh Hashanah. A startup company here in Gush Etzion. We had companies come from even the Merkaz.
Overall, it was, to get the equipment here and to get it into that cellar must have been a pretty big deal. Again,
luckily that was before the war. We just brought a whole pile of friends from the yeshuv, and the 6 or 7 of us lifted the press and walked down the stairs and brought it. It was a big deal getting all the equipment together and getting it here. I think what's unique here is, on one hand, we're the size of a garage winery, that people kind of do at home in their basement.
Right.
On the other hand, we're doing it as professionally as you can. We hired a serious winemaker. We're buying all the proper equipment, and we're controlling the way the grapes are grown. So I think on the one hand, you have really like garage winery style care. Like we know what's going on in every single barrel, and we're really on top of things. And on the other hand, it's done professionally. It's not like just a hobby.
How much of the grape production do you keep for yourself now?
Just about 4 tons of grapes.
Okay. Out of how much? How many tons do you produce now?
That produces about 34 tons, the Cabernet, about 34 tons. And this summer, we're going to be producing another, well, it's Neta Revai, so usually we don't reach a ton of dunam. But that's all like our objective, about a ton of dunam.
Gotcha.
So it's another 21 dunam. This year's probably going to be less, maybe 700, 800 kilo dunam, I'm guessing.
Okay.
And we're hoping to plant more varieties on top of the winery, and then it'll be all for us. Everything that we're going to plant here is going to be just for our winery.
I really thank you.
Thank you.
This is wonderful. This is really wonderful.
Thanks for coming all the way out here.
No, it's. Where in Canada did you come from originally?
My mother's from Toronto.
Toronto.
My dad's from Montreal.
How long have they been here? How long did they?
I was born here, so my dad came here even for yeshiva before they were married. The Yeshivat HaKotel, did Hester Army. My mom came to do Shuvut Lomi at Rav Tzvania, Drori.
Okay.
Shivi Drori's father in Kiryat Shmona.
Looking out over the view from here, this is facing south.
This is facing south. Yam HaMelach is right over there. You can see it from the other vineyard. From the vineyard, you see Yam HaMelach.
Yeah.
So that would be east, west, north. Yerushalayim, you can see Yerushalayim from here.
Right.
That would be south.
Thank you very much for being on the Kosher Terroir.
Thank you. Yeah. Do you want me? Every person who comes here, I read the last psukim of Amos. Should I read it?
I would love to.
Well, first of all, why Amos? This area is Amos Hanavi's area.
Yeah.
The yeshuv next door is called Male Amos.
Yeah.
There's Nachal Amos right by here. And even Tkoa and Nokdim, which are a little north from us, the book starts, Divrei Amos mitkoa lenokdim. That's where those names are from.
Right.
So this is really like the area of the Navi Amos. And as you've heard them already 3 times, you know these psukim. But we feel really connected to these psukim. Hine yamim ba'im neum Hashem, v'nigash choresh bekotzer v'dorech anavim b'Moshe chazara, v'tifu ha'arim asis. The mountaintops will flow with asis. What is asis? Asis is wine. Asis is, after the grapes are crushed, what comes out of them. And when we started our vineyard, then we started a company and we called it Kerem Asisarim. That's till today. That's what we have in our cheshboniyot.
Wow.
It says Kerem Asisarim from these psukim. Veshavti et shvut ami Yisrael, and I will return my people, right? Ubanu arim neshamot. They will rebuild the towns. Ibei Anacha now is being built. If you drive through the yeshuv, we're still in caravans. We've been waiting many years to be authorized. We were a few years ago. And now people are building houses. Everything stopped in Simchat Torah, but the houses are being built. V'yashvu v'nat'u kramim, and they will plant vineyards. V'shatu et yeinam, and they will drink their wine. V'asu ganot v'achlu et bereim, u'neta'atim al admatam, I will plant them on their land. V'lo yinatshu od me'al admatam asher natati leim amar Adonai Elohecha, and they will never again be uprooted again from this land. So when people ask us why did we do all this, that's honestly where we came from. I confessed before, I wasn't some big wine lover for many years. We just really wanted to be part of this nevuah in this area, in this land.
Look at what's going on.
It's called Duchta de Moshe v'Aaron lo kazach.
Yeah.
Moshe and Aaron didn't have this privilege.
Where in the world did we get the privilege to be here for this? It's so special. It's so awesome. So it's really an amazing place. Baruch Hashem. Please God, you should have Hatzlacha Hatzah Rabbah.
Amen.
This is Simon Jacob again, your host of today's episode of the Kosher Terroir. I have a personal request. No matter where you are or where you live, please take a moment to pray for our soldiers' safety and the safe and rapid return of our hostages. I hope you have enjoyed this episode of the Kosher Terroir. It was exciting and informative for me as well. Please subscribe via your podcast provider to be informed of our new episodes as they are released. If you're new to the Kosher Terroir, please check out our many past episodes.